Hi, folks. Today I have a talk for you called Resilience in a Realm Run by Invaders. Resilience in a Realm Run by Invaders. How have humans kept up this charade of broken promises and filthy lie-based slavery for so long? And why? How and why would I be able to be safe and in some moments at peace in this campsite over here for many years in the most expensive town in the whole nation and not find trouble apart from theft? How come Brave and Free Santa Cruz and the other collective started by Keith McHenry, Food Not Bombs, still exists? How are they able to serve food to the homeless every day for like 3 years after 2020 and still do it and serve humans in awakening still? Keith has a lot of resilience. His grandfather was in the OSS. He is not afraid. Why and how could I publish 555 wisdom videos and truth-filled videos on a video platform with 150 CIA censors? I learned that from him, who is so controlled by the invisible hand of the number fixers it can't even decide if my last rant deserved one thumbs up or two. Why would I do that? Why would I share obnoxiously so much information with everyone and everything? There are reasons Joshua will never be shadow banned, but I had to be. After being coerced and begged to get disability for 3 years, I finally caved and went to the interview. I'd had MRSA for 8 years and it had gone systematic. I'd had cancer for 14 years at that point, and I knew aside from funds, all the system had for me was poisons, or poisons that would kill me, that would kill me for the latter, or temporarily make the horrific blood disease go away. In other words, antibiotics that would make it go away temporarily for thousands of dollars or whatever, both at a cost that would gut all of the income. In other words, you know, and I didn't have any money anyways. I mean, I was collecting cans and busking, and I'd survive collecting cans and busking. Subconsciously, I kept saying no because my Mercury in Capricorn retrograde. I wanted to bootstrap. I didn't want to be dependent because I knew it would fuck up also. And my friend Chris Moss or Willow told me, I think you're making a big mistake, because he said that Buckminster Fuller said that, not getting in between people when they're, slave, like you got a slave with them or they won't trust you, basically, because Buckminster Fuller was from a rich family. And so I knew it would fuck up or complexify my relationship with humanity, not being a fellow slave. I had an overt narcissist junior god love bomb me, invite me into his apartment, and then try to run an endless extortion racket on me. You know, and I did learn a lot of wisdom from him, pearls of jewels from the, and but he wanted to create this endless debt. When I finally figured out I'd paid him all the money I owed him, minus his endless interest, I asked him finally, what will it take to end the debt? He said that I would have to give him all my money, my entire check. Similarly, since the financial inversion, and usurpation that paved the way for me to even get into the Golden Country Club prison began, the invention of the FED, Fed Beast, and their fully fake-ass national debt monster fake concept. We've seen our nation and many minds swamped psychologically by these filthy, sick ideas that, that we have to, that our nation has to spend, what is it, like $10,000 an hour on war, and, the debt ticker, by these filthy, sick ideas that our economy and worse, our bodies have to be used as cannon fodder, literally, really, and funding for the endless war-based debt machine, this national debt ticker that, again, was created by the same force. And now that we have the announcement of that January 17th, 2027, we will have the central bank digital currency known as stable coin to keep all of us goyim in the stable digitally. It has to be hidden. And what could go wrong? Sorry to inform you folks, but I read the fine print. It wasn't that long. Like, that's why I call it that, because I read the fine print. DJT gives the FDIC, the Fed, full oversight. Like Russian dolls of hell. The same stories of forced slavery, war, conquest, domination, perversion, and inversion have gone on here for 1,000,000 years. What created this town over here, a couple miles, a bloody massacre, is no different than what created all these other mission towns on the coast of California. Is the same archetypal formula of war that created everything. This so-called civilization that we see before us is so inverted. The evil ones gave us their minds, for over 1,000,000 years. This domination has been going on, right? So we have accepted violence, endless war, and all of the imported sexual misery programs of our invaders. Some say that the reptilian men and women hated each other for millions and millions of years, and that we've imported their sexual misery programs of our invaders over the trauma-bonded, coerced, and terrified years as God's truth. We are here to serve God. Get on your knees. The mouth of the devouring one who eats us all, Mahakala, is the master of our reality if we're obedient. We are here to get in God's vampire jaw. We have our memories wiped and are forced back into this geoengineered hell for another round as a slave or a prisoner. Over and over and over. And we'll never remember. We're never going to... It's the idea of evolution, that your soul progresses, is such a fucking fake-ass lie. If you can't remember. I mean, it might be true a little bit because I kept some of my talents. Fortunately, the memory wipe doesn't work 100%. But still, I noticed Joshua began to not responding to my emails. Is this the discard phase, or does he hate or resent me for my hypocrisy? I asked the facet oracle, and it said, when it got to the point where I said he just doesn't care, and it said yes. Am I envious that he actually has his audience? Because it said no to those other points that might have been. So I'm not sure if I trust that oracle or not, but am I envious that he actually has his audience? Honestly, it's natural to feel that, but it's not. I don't like that's a lower emotion. So, especially if he's openly sharing it, which he is. So I don't really feel that, but it's a tinge. It'd be nice if I had my actual audience. It was nice to not be hidden by the eagle, what seems to me to be the evil algorithm when I went on his live. Maybe, but in respect or in admiration, not like a narcissist. Like I don't like for me, it's just a stupid like jealousy or both jealousy and envy, which are two of the opposite things. Because jealousy is when you think people want to be with you. So I think they're both lame and pathetic. But if you really have the oneness, you don't have to feel that. See, so if I will never, but it's hard to completely not feel that when well, of course, if I was 33 years old, I mean, that is part of the whole, how the thing works. Is that's going to, of course, he may have done a lot more shadow work and maybe further along than me anyway. So, in certain regards, but in other ways, I have things to share and, he seems open to it. So let's see. I will never discard him or anyone serious about awakening, liberation, and escaping from hell. However, I understand how much, especially when you're young, how attacked you get in the second bardo. I have compassion and reprimand. I reprimanded him or from my online friend. That might have been what was annoying. Because to me that I've never been bored. I've never felt bored a minute in my whole existence here because it just, I mean, intellectually speaking, like there's nothing boring. I mean, both for the satanic filth and for the brilliance that we're capable of, the good, the genius that's hidden that we don't know about. My astrology chart says I was perhaps a Buddhist monk. I'm guessing. I was in some kind of cult or whatever in the past, many past lives, really, or obedient to rules and someone else's band, or following along with some other teacher, and so many past lives that this is something I read in my astrology zodiac birth chart, that this life I was supposed to take care of myself and be sovereign, basically, and ring my own bell, so to speak. Show up on time for my own business, be an entrepreneur, bootstrap myself. I mean, I had made my collecting cans. I asked the clerks at grocery stores and hoteliers that weren't the manager along along Ocean Street, and I didn't have to talk to anybody. I'd make $5 and digging through the trash. So I have a tendency towards trying to be, to be an entrepreneur or sovereign. So as much as the forced codependency does make a good reason to resent, discard, or think of me as a hypocrite, there is another level that had I done that, I might have had to forego, and another reason he might have ignored these emails. His last live was called the fake, boring, mundane hell reality or something like that, and I said that is the fake version. What you're describing there is the fake version. You know. So in a way, the beast kept me numerically small because I skip steps according to its 3D logic. I didn't publish books. I don't have a website and courses, and I don't know how to do graphics. Yet, having 15 bones crushed and watching them all heal over yonder in the California sunshine after just taking CBD, THC, and bone broth gave me a boost of confidence and reminded me of my other mission in this, getting in this flesh suit again, having to come down to this hell realm again. Beside from music, I have to go out of my way to go back to it now because it seems to me, really emotionally speaking, from what Castaneda called the emotional body, especially with no actual sexual partner, no sex life with another person, so to speak. 2020 really felt like the end of live music. I mean, it seems like they destroyed the Catalyst over here. It was a great nightclub. and have some of the greatest artists, or whatever happened to the promoter, the all the shit that went down. I mean, look what happened with Dave Grohl, and the Foo Fighters had a show in Los Angeles where they'd only allowed in the people who took the shots. I mean, 2020 really felt like the end of live music and the bliss of reconnecting with the original true reality in concert form. Like when you go to the Fish show or the concert, you go see your favorite band and you feel that oneness. That's what it was like for me at the Fish concert, man. I felt the oneness there, not just because of the fear and mandated separation, but because of how the mind control filth had grown. That's right, the self-replicating nanotech and graphene dioxide and all the chemtrails and all that shit filth that nearly strangled and in some cases permanently destroyed live music. The only artist, one of the few that ever stood up against it, Van Morrison, wrote a whole record against the whole thing, all out of fear and domination. The place really has felt a lot more like a pure hell from this alone, from this standpoint, from the musical perspective. Um, uh, Add the geoengineered atmospheric rivers, and when I got the long COVID from that, and the direct energy weapon attacks, and and I took the natokinase for about 2 years. I had to take it for about 2 years before I felt like enough of that spike is out of my body. The direct energy weapon attacks on cities, the desecration of all real social bonding they could possibly accomplish very, very successfully, to the point where a lot of folks just don't even, they're so terribly traumatized by that shit fear programming in the mainstream media that they're so solipsistic that I'm going to go have to sit at a table with them to upload this video. People who are, if they're not NPCs or cyborg 2.0 slaves, they're simply so traumatized by whatever happened with their parents and the shit filth of the last half a decade that they are completely solipsistic. They cannot acknowledge they've been mentally abused by the society so bad that no possibility could be in their mind that I could exist. So the forced atomization, the furthering and escalating of constant dumbing down and fear-based propaganda and lies everywhere on the planet through the war, through the direct energy weapon attacks, through all the chemical attacks, through the disease I have, through the fucking respiratory disease, through creating all these different, adding all these different variations, making it stronger mutations that'll take us out more. Why are only good souls or essences trapped in flesh suits still here? Why would good essences even still be here? How will we get out of the memory wipe reincarnation trap? How will we escape? This is the number one question many of us have in our subconscious, obviously. Though, under the false self invaders, it surely was Sisyphon. Humanity was a big fucking collective lemming Sisyphus, just trying to push this big rock up the hill every lifetime. Just pushing this rock up the hill and it falls down. We can't remember shit. We collectively roll that rock up the hill. We keep on rolling that rock up the hill. We keep on paying our mortal gauge with every moment of our lives. We keep on rolling that rock up the hill. But now, one of our strongest features, sadly, that the dark side still share with us, could be recognized also as a superpower that both the evil reptilian scum and the respectful beings have, especially the Celtics, of humans and our fake gods. And that is resilience. Re-seal-ence. Getting silly again? Comedy is a strength of the ensouled. Re-seal-ence, to me, is a word that etymologically reminds you to maintain your spiritual self. Maintain your spiritual seal. Rastafarians say sila. What does that mean when they say sila? Well, it means you don't have to be killed if you're not a financial slave. You know, as I said before, I found this book on the ground when I went to Labor Ready one time in North Charleston, and I was a little late, and they told me there was no jobs. And the CARTA, the Charleston Area Regional Transit Authority, was so corrupt at that time that someone stole millions of dollars out of it, and they had to shut it down for a year. In that era, and I was at the bus stop waiting for a while, and then I saw this book on the ground. I think on the way there, and I was reading this book, a purple book called An Ascension Handbook by Tony Stubbs, and it had this little ascension prayer in there. It said, "I only let in and out light and love." And I feel like I've done that so many times, so many occasions. Like when the killer alcoholic lawyer of the Illuminati basically was telling me he was going to mace me and kill me, and I just maintained the faith, shield of faith, a energy shield. You understand? Like I was able to create in my mind. He was about to do some serious harm to me, and I said, "No, you don't want to do that." He said, "Tell me one reason why not." But it was partially because I had the shield up in my mind. Um, I used to go look in the New Leaf dumpster at 1 a.m. on the west side when the janitor would put the trash out for sealed deli salads when I was broke and hungry decades ago. In a way, I'm glad I didn't take care of myself, because financially, in most cases, that seems to be a psyop to keep you focused solely on the flesh suits. This is why the whole antinatalism, the whole argument towards wanting to be to do what I had done and be a hermit, or just kick it to yourself and stay away from the fools and the bullshit, makes sense, because every year they want to make the rent higher, and you got to focus more and more energy on not dying in the fucking Babylon Matrix. It seems like a psyop solely to be focused on the flesh suit survival. So in a way, the Roosevelt socialist dark side did a great job in keeping Joshua and I conceptually apart. Yet, I plan to be fully independent this life, at least, again, in the mind, and ideally in every possible way, probably to do my best to share, model, and be a part of human liberation from the cage. At least, again, the work I've done psychologically and mentally to free myself from believing these derogatory streams, but the things I've done to at least temporarily or 96% destroy my deadly illness has given me experience. It is far more psychologically, and if I had sunshine like I did today, I could just do it. Probably keep it gone. But the spray really does. It is a great way to exasperate people's sickness. It is far more psychologically difficult in a country club prison to get free, really, when you think about it, because it seduces you into laziness. But really, it is all a matter of perception. Or, as we all have the key in our hand, no matter what your situation is, if you're on this so-called planet, so-called Earth, whether you're a slave, you're a prisoner, prison slave, you've got the key in your hand. While still in the cell, if you are, you can just look closer, and many of y'all will see, like the tarot card for the devil with the married couple, whether you are on a chain gang, a financial slave, or in the golden prison, your handcuffs are on loosely, just like in that tarot card, the Rider-Waite version. You got that handcuff. It's your hand's in the fucking handcuff, but it's loose. You can get your hands out of there. You just forgot, or corrupted You complied to fit in and got corrupted to keep the fake peace. It happened to many of us. I took the bribe to stay small while I remembered this could be similar to shamanically. My ego, my narcissistic ego, was like, I'm resurrecting the New Earth Army. Maybe I need to take that more seriously and go take Sean Bond's classes because he's the only one of the few that openly shares his skills, encourages people to learn. Some others do. Capricorn, Scorpio, Virgo, be careful and question yourself, my friend. For those whose moon and rising signs are before their sun sign, especially fixed zodiac signs in general, in the wheel, seem to easily think backwards, like my Mercury in Capricorn retrograde. Anything you have in your zodiac chart that's retrograde or a fixed sign, you got to be really careful that you don't get stuck in your thoughts or think backwards, because your mind naturally is stationed to be stuck or thinking, the opposite or go the opposite direction. I mean, honestly, the motherfucking cell phone is a wonderful thing for me, having Mercury in Capricorn retrograde, because before this, I would always go the wrong way on a street when I got to a new town. In fact, it's the fucking, thank you, Google, Alphabet, because you make me feel more, even though it's obnoxious. Sometimes the archons will get inside the machine and make it tell me the wrong thing or make it screw up and loose me out. So it doesn't always, sometimes it's horrific, honestly. So people with or I have my Mars and Leo retrograde in my birth chart. Mars and Leo retrograde. People in the might, dwell in the past, negativity, traumas, or believe the stream of archonic filth is their self if they're not seriously careful about it. Really careful. Far more often. Just remind yourself that filth is not you. That filth is not you. Those filthy thoughts are the archons trying to loose you. It's not you. Remind yourself. It's very sad. Noticing this, resist and revolt. Regain self-respect. Only you can do that. No one else can do it for you. Discernment and peace are your responsibilities if you want to be well, as much as you can in hell. I mean, I know it's asking a lot. If you realize you're in a psychological prison or a mental hell that was forced upon you with these fake systems that dominated and took over, the invaders systems, but you have to do your best. Don't believe the lying facade of, otherwise you're gonna really suck. You're gonna be loosed and suck, become a vampire, possibly more so yourself. Don't believe the lying facade of the House of Cards is yourself. It's really hard. I know, man. They come up with a custom lie, a custom deception, a custom archonic filthy trash thought for each one of us to try to pull each one of us in. Customly. Are you willing to be like Chiron last and let go of it all, man? Are you willing to say, nah, I don't need it. I don't need anything from the Babylon, the Matrix. Maybe that is a requirement more than, say, ending yourself or whatever you want to say, PC, but to actually do the spiritual work. I mean, is resurrection or ascension a possibility if you did? Is it not something that Tony Sayers wants to make fun of because he couldn't conceive of it as possibly real? I mean, or maybe he does, and he realizes it's much more difficult than they said, So, humans have a tremendous capacity for resilience, and we need it more now than ever. Can you maintain your peace of mind by not identifying with the interdimensional parasites when they loose you? When you feel those moments coming on, and they're about to suck you dry. Do you recognize that? What is this superpower capable of? Well, and I had a really strong occasion the other day, and the man with the rainbow on his name tag at the Tucson Amtrak insisted on he had to put my bicycle in a box, and then he said he was going to have to take the pedals off. I don't have the tool. I don't have the tool to put them back on. And the coyote came out. Honestly, I just had smoked a little joint I got from the club called Soul Flower. 2 joints for $5, and kind of let him have it a little bit because. But I was doing it very calmly, and then it turned out he only wanted $5 more than it would have cost normally. Every other 15 times I rode on the train, they just one of the things I liked about it, they would take the bicycle and not insist any shit like this, like the planes and the bus insists you put it in a box and all that. And so I basically let him know that he was trying, that this was a big loosing. I didn't use that word, but I started telling him that I respected him, but I didn't like it. And I probably caused both of us to get loose worse, to be honest with you. This is the thing a lot of spiritual teachers will never tell you, that very few people are free of it. But again, it's partially due to the my psychological identification with the coyote spirit was that I had to try to calmly show this man up because he was being really offensive. I was risking getting, losing my ability to go because I felt that he was, whether he was aware of it or not, he was being an unwitting art, maybe possibly unwitting or witting because he could have been a sadist that thought I was cute. I openly said, "Oh, you think I'm cute, huh?" And implying that he was a sadist. But that's very, archontic. So yeah. So, but my Mercury in Capricorn retrograde, and I pulled up the coyote, and I was able to. Then he put the money down. And he said, "You take care of it." And this Latina woman with tattoos helped me to put the bicycle in the box, and I insisted on not taking my pedals off, and it was all fine. And it worked out good. And ironically, it made it way easier on me instead of having to running up and give the engineer, the train driver, the bicycle. They did it all for me for $5 more. So maybe I'll do it like that again. Ironically, But so there you go. So it's just, but still, I'd say both him and I in that occasion might have been unwittingly just causing a big loose extraction. And you gotta, but I kept calm is the main key. I'm saying is that I kept calm, and you got to be able to learn to keep calm in those moments. It's very important. Are you also battling deadly chronic illnesses? And discipline and resilience, they can never take you. When you know you are literally trapped in an escalated, ramped up, but yet fully contrived and hijacked Taurus that has been rendered a psychological hell on earth, you must be strong and re-seal-ence. Seal your mind from the Archon filth. One of the few times the Archons said, was able to, I was having a really hard day walking home up my trail, and I hear, I want to kill myself, loud. But the thing is, they're so arrogant. I think it might have been that time or one of the two other few times it ever happened that they slipped. And I hear, you should kill yourself. They couldn't even have the intelligence to sit to really insinuate that it was me, basically. It was only one moment because I rebuked the parasite, as they say, rebuked the parasite scumboy by saying, no, you should do that to yourself. As soon as I did that, what did I hear then? Crickets. Because when you disidentify with the voices that tell you to do stupid shit, like harm yourself for others, that stream of filth, the human condition under the maggot reptilian minds who control this planet. When you learn that discipline, you don't have to go into that drama necessarily. You don't have to fight that person or hate them forever and all this sort of stupid shit. And man, when I told that Archon that, I turned it back on them. Maybe that's what it's good to do, is mirror the thoughts of filth. When you notice it happening, mirror it back. Say, no, this is I'm sending this back to you. This is what goes to you. No, Joshua, you were also wrong about self-exit. That is the surest way to get memory wiped and thrown back in. I'm sure 10 people have told you that already, of course, but I'm just reminding. How am I still here with deadly illness? Resilience. How did I finally earn dinner money as a one-man band with this little plastic instrument called melodica after 10 years of going down by the creek in Boulder Creek and teaching myself a couple of classic rock and jazz songs and reggae songs every week, several songs every week, you know? As lazy as I was, it took me, maybe it's that. Resilience. And resilience, we can individually and collectively reseal the reseal the filth of the invaders and keep awareness in. You know, seal it out. Keep your mind sealed from that filth and keep your awareness in. Is it a requirement to honor the adversary to get out? Well, I mean, you gotta see the, I don't like to say the word evil genius, but you gotta appreciate the amount of orchestration and infiltration, capacity for mind control, invisible weapons, and all these attacks. You got to appreciate it, let's say. You can't just underestimate it and get out. You can't just, morally speaking, when it comes to respect and decency, when it comes to love, when it comes to awareness of the heart, he's a fucking idiot. Nothing. Worthless scum. But when it comes to mind control of the 3D and the fearful and destroying humans gradually, he's pretty fucking talented, right? So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Rather than just verbally abuse, as you did in that last video, admit their massively built up stolen power. Admit the soul-sucking matrix has been rendered very real for a fear-based hologram video game. And never forget, it is fake anyhow. It's a dualism. It's a dualistic world, so you have to have awareness of your responsibility for your own essence while you're here in your situation, and also but realizing that it's a fraud. No matter what happens in hell, non-identification with lords of hell is essential. The flesh suit body may have to be a financial slave or codependent prisoner for a spell. Pun intended. Isn't the devil funny? But remember, in the long term, it is all based on trauma, violence, and lies. In strong resilience, we can build the communities even. For me, that's going to take the shadow work with all these several narcissists that have, I still haven't completely healed from the severing of trusting of humans that caused me. I'm not 100% healed from that. It was in the last 10 years, 5 years. But still, you know, in strong resilience and doing that shadow work, we can build the communities, share wisdom, and get more and more real. Even stuck in this fucking loose prison. Are you more like Cherokee Indians or the Hopi or Crows who were able to keep their original lands? And, well, at least the Hopis didn't sell out, but the Cherokee, became like the white man with the casinos and all that. So are you more like going to have a big casino? You see, there's different kinds of resilience. There's going along to get along with the man resilience, but is it really resilient or does it wear you the fuck out? In resilience, we know the shit filth gods are not our creators. The Hopi or the Crow nations kept their original tribal lands. They had firearms and they only have used them to protect their lands, and they kept them and they stood their ground. They didn't back down. But the Cherokee, they got moved around and they went through what we call assimilation into the culture of capitalism. Now, you know they will try to loosh and harvest your energy like they do probably every day or 3 times a week if you're more enlightened. Will you be resilient to resist and remain calm? In resilience, we always remember that the shit filth creating gods are not our creators, have no thing on their own, since they stole it all, or terrified, or killed, or raped, or robbed, or pillaged to get it all. And they have no love or respect, and no abilities without us as batteries. We can say, wow, evil false gods, you really have done an amazing job dumbing us down into seemingly permanent idiocracy, just like that old movie from when I was a teenager. But sooner or later, it will be over. Because in the age of enlightenment, it's not going to be so pathetic and stupid. Because the original divine Namulu, Christos human race, is also very resilient, as fucking naive as they have been. And real, original human essences are actually good and respectful. We were also very, very naive and trusting. Are you resilient? What is the extent of the strength of your resolve? Embrace and destroy the invaders and your thoughts with this divine power. Be more resilient than these reptilians who are so resilient, and these Anunnaki gods that have terrified us into running their sick siphoning system for 1,000,000 years. Be more resilient. Of course, to remain resilient, we must crush the fear daily. How are we going to be resilient if we don't do that? There are those who will escape the memory wipe and get free. I'm convinced there are some that will. I feel that Yeshua did. Of course, if he was from the Anunnaki, he might have had more superpowers to get through. Those who are adamantly resilient on the side of truth, freedom, and respect. If they're really willing to do that shadow work, if they're really willing to, say, learn the remote view, or to get out of their body, to get out of their ego, get out of their little me, to really understand, overstand to that level of clarity, surely they can get past all this shit. You don't have to be a slave. To get free from it, you have to be steadfast and standing up to the invaders. You think I didn't have to stand up? You have to deal with, crimes against me from doing this? You must never give up, like Keith McHenry. You must maintain strong resilience from within your divine heart. How do you get resilient? when you finally consecrate. I mean, for me, it took being struck by that PG&E truck and breaking 15 bones and healing them before I really got my head out of my ass. When you finally consecrate and devote your life or dance to the truth of what you have and want, if you're lucky to do. If you can really figure out your blueprint, if you're one of those lucky few, you will learn to do your best consistently. To use discipline, meditation, plant medicine, nature, oxygen, and sunshine baths to begin with, to realign. I find those to be really helpful to realign. You begin to eat, think, and do clean, like a diet or a cleanse, like when you're on a healing phase. Every single day you eat organic. Every single day you respect the holy temple. Every single day. Even if it's a rotting flesh suit that needs to consume cholesterol. Because, yeah, the beauty that kills, Christ Sophia, Kali Ma, whoever was here to begin with wasn't a filthy vampire, but they gave us these flesh suits. Unfortunately, they decided to go it alone and create the Yaldabaoth, according to that story. And once you really get your diet clean, your thoughts clean, you don't identify with the stream of archonic, derogatory filth, trash, the fake version. You really, you are already free, psychologically or mentally in a way. You identify with the liberated essence within already.